By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And welcome back to the Hill Giant Cup number 5. This is our second episode from this tournament, and in the second episode we're going to see a very cool green and red burn deck. And I'm calling it very cool. It's piloted by Koen, by the way, because it's got Gaia's Leeches in it. I haven't seen this card in forever, so I'm so looking forward to see it in action. And he is taking on Fulco, and Fulco is playing a very strong white-black deck with a blue power splash. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough matchup for Koen, but, you know, I'm hopefully keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that we get to see those Gaia's Leeches. I'm very excited about that. Before I start with the deck, by the way, because I've got lovely deck photos of both of these decks, first, a quick message from our sponsor, 341 Trading. 341 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured, and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets, and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards, and thank you 341 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to start with the deck decks. I'm going to start with the deck of the player on the left. That is Koen. Let's take a look at his red and green deck. And here we see the deck of Koen. So, I mean, Gaia's Leech. Maybe we should just start with Gaia's Leech. It's a card for 3 green and 3. I'm just going to read the current Oracle text that says, as long as Gaia's Leech isn't attacking, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of forests you control. As long as Gaia's Leech is attacking, its power and toughness are equal to the number of forests defending player controls. And that's actually, that last line is the problem with Gaia's Leech, because you play this for 6, right? And you're like, oh, I got a really big creature, because of course you play with green, you're heavy into green if you play this creature, so it's probably going to be a 5/5 or maybe even a 6/6, who knows. But then as soon as you attack with it, it can become a 0/0 instantly if your opponent doesn't have any forests. And green is not really the most popular color in old school, you know? So that's really where Gaia's Leech gets into trouble in terms of power skill. Now, it does have a pretty cool ability because you can tap it to turn target land into a forest until Gaia's Leech leaves the battlefield. Another problem of this card, right? If they would stay forests, even if Gaia's Leech was destroyed, the card would be a little bit better. So there's just a lot of things design-wise when I'm looking at this card where I think you could have made it a little bit better if you did so and so and so and so. But that counts for so many cards. Still, back in the day when I was a little Timmy, I actually used to play with Koen at our LGS at the time that was called Magic Wombat, and he was known for playing with Gaia's Leech. So it's so cool to see that he's coming back to old school and he still plays with Gaia's Leech. I think that's super cool, Koen, and hopefully, even though it's probably not going to be the best card this tournament for you, I hope you're at least going to keep it in your deck. He's playing with 2 today. He's also playing with Force of Nature, another card that I really like. But I think the strength of this deck is not in the Force of Nature or the Gaia's Leeches. The strength of this deck is really, in my opinion, in the aggressive creatures, in the pump spells, in the burn. So, I mean, ideally, you want to get Curdape out very quickly, Dragon Whelp out very quickly, play a Giant Growth on there, a well-timed Berserk, deal tons of damage, and then finish it off with your burner. Actually, there's so much burn in here, you can just burn your opponent to the ground. But it's gonna be really tough because he's facing that white control package. Swords to Plowshares is gonna be could be a major problem for Koen. But the burn is hopeful, and of course he's playing Channel, so Channel Fireball is an option. Okay, so this is the deck of Koen. Now let's take a look at the deck of his opponent, Fulco. And here we see the deck of Fulco. So this is a 3-color deck, white, blue, and black. And actually the main color is black. If we look at the top row, most spells are black here. And the name Spiked Ale kind of refers to Dead Guy Ale, the white and black deck. And of course, Spike refers to the blue splash here. And of course, the Power Splash, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and Time Twister, which makes sense because almost every deck gets better with those cards. What I noticed though when I'm looking purely at the blue splash is that he went for Mana Drain and Brain Geyser as well, which I can imagine are sometimes hard to cast with the mana base. He has 8 blue sources in total. Maybe that's enough. I do like the Mana Drain in this deck because you really don't see that coming. I think most people kind of expect the blue power splash, but a mana drain, I don't think a lot of people see that coming. So that's quite an interesting choice. And maybe Fulco, you can let us know in the comments below how that has kind of worked out for you in this tournament. And then let's have a look at the black cards, because they're the majority of the deck. We're seeing, the Hypnotic Specters, we see the Sengir Vampires, a single beautiful Juzam Jin. We see those Dark Rituals that work together so well with the Hypnotic Spectre. But the Dark Ritual maybe even works better with the Underworld Dreams. We see 4 Underworld Dreams here in total. And when you play with 4 Underworld Dreams, then of course your Time Twister gets much better as well. And then when we're looking at the the white part of the deck, it's quite modest. It's just that control part, right? 3 Disenchants, 3 Swords, and a single Balance. It's quite easy, it's very minimal, but it does the job. And that's the thing with white. Those instant spells, Disenchant, Swords, they're so good. They do the job better than any other color can when it comes to removing enchantments and artifacts and creatures. It's just the power of white in old school. It's quite strong, to be honest. And I do understand why you see more and more people playing with white purely for those cards. It makes absolute sense. And then when we're looking at the rest of the deck, we see, of course, the 4 Mistress Factories. We see those power cards like the Library of Alexandria. Of course, we see Mind Twist Demonic in this deck as well. So overall, just a very strong deck. I think when I'm looking at both decks, Fulco is definitely the favorite here. I can see that he can totally outpower Koen, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed again. I'm hoping to see Gaia's Leech. And, who knows? Koen is playing with a lot of burn. I mean, Fulco can get overburned as well. So I'm hoping for an exciting close match. But in my opinion, Fulco is the strong favorite here in this matchup. Game number 1, here we go. On the left, we have Koen. He's on the play. I believe he's playing red-green burn, and he's taking on Fulco. Fulco is playing a 3-color deck, mainly black, but it's black-white, a little bit of blue splash. And he's playing with 4 Underworld Dreams. And he's got a fully powered deck. There we see Koen starting off with a Taiga passing the turn. There we see a Badlands and a Mox Sapphire. Okay, tapping both. What are we going to see? Demonic Tutor. Okay, nice start here for Fulco. And then, of course, the question is, what are you going to tutor for? Well, that's really hard to say when we don't see the hand. For example, if he has a blue source in hand, maybe he's going to go for Ancestral Recall. But if he doesn't, maybe he's going to go for the blue source. You know, who knows? Maybe he's going to go for a Hypnotic Spectre that he wants to play the next turn. There are a lot of possibilities still. Of course, a Mind Twist is also a possibility, but that depends on the ramp that he has or doesn't have in his hand. Look at that. Going to go for Sapphire, showing it. So I guess he's playing it out this turn as well. I wonder if he then has an Ancestral Recall that he wants to use the mana for. So first going to shuffle up here. There we go. Putting the deck back. So Sapphire on the battlefield. Are we going to see that recall? No, just a pass. Surprises me a little. I think I would have kept it in hand if you're not going to use it. Because now if you run into a Shatter, for example, you're going to lose that Sapphire. Here we see a Birds of Paradise being played out by Koen. I was kind of hoping for a Taiga into Kurdape turn 1, by the way. That's a true classic. But we didn't see it. Now let's see what Fulco can do. Tapping the city, taking a damage, going to 19. Tapping the Pearl as well and the Badlands. Okay, there we go. We've got a Hypnotic Spectre on the board. Are we going to see a Bolt from Koen? Not yet, at least. Just a pass. 2-2 Hypnotic Spectre. There's a Taiga. Gonna tap 3 here. Fireball for 2. Taking care of the Hypnotic Spectre. So that's a good answer, but I think the bigger issue for Koen here is that he doesn't have a creature here to put pressure on the life of Fulco. I think when you look at Koen's deck, his biggest chance to win is just by being very aggressive from the start. That's not working out so far. Let's first see, of course, what Fulco can do, taking another damage here from his own city, tapping 5 in total. Okay, there's the Brain Geyser, explaining that choice for the Mox Sapphire here. Now drawing 3 new cards. Refilling his hand. I believe he doesn't have to discard. Right, I think. Yeah, doesn't have to discard. Gonna pass the turn. Are we gonna see, for example, a Dragon Whelp by Koen? Just a pass. Ah, that is not great. I think the longer the game takes, the better it is for Fulco because his spells are more powerful. There we see Underworld Dreams being cast. And it looks like that's all he can do. Could, of course, attack here with the Mishra's Factory. I mean, worst case scenario, you run into a bolt, but at least then the bolt is not being pointed your way. He is going to tap the Sapphire. Going to animate the factory, attack here with the 2-2. There's a giant growth blocking the factory. Okay, that's quite nice. Huge bird of paradise is showing up in front of the factory workers and eating them all up. That is funny. Are we going to see an action second main? No, we're not. Just a pass here by Fulco. And Koen getting in on some action, it seems. Tapping 4. Okay, there's a Dragon Whelp. 2-3 flyer. And with 1 red, you can give it +1/+0. And you cannot do that more than 3 times. Well, you can actually, but then it's destroyed at the end of turn. So it can blow itself up. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy playing with these little dragons when I'm on a Mana Flare deck. And here we see a Mishra's Factory being played out by Fulco. And of course, Koen took a damage from that Underworld Dreams, by the way. That's why he's on 19. Tapping 3. Okay, there's a Time Twister. Yeah, this is pretty bad for Koen because he's going to take 7 points of damage. On the other hand, I believe his hand was almost empty, so he is refilling his hand. He's still on 19, so it's not the end of the world. And you're going to go to 12. But hey, you get a full grip of cards. And remember, Koen is playing with tons of burn, you know? So if he can have like 1 or 2 good attacks with the Whelp, maybe he can then finish off Fulco with burn. I think an important moment now in the game is that Dragon Whelp at least gets a hit in. And here both players drawing their fresh 7. So Koen now on 12 because of that Underworld Dreams. And let's see what Fulco can do. Of course, it's still his turn. Gonna tap 2. And there we see a sinkhole on one of the dual lands, so 1 Taiga gone. And I believe Fulco is playing with 3 sinkholes in total, passing the turn here back to Koen. And I mean, the deck of Fulco has a lot of answers, right? Sinkholes for lands, disenchants for enchantment artifacts, swords for creatures. It's got Underworld Dreams to deal alternative damage besides combat damage. So it's a pretty versatile deck. Here we see the attack. Just 2 damage though. He's not going to pump it up. Are we going to see another Whelp? There's another Dragon Whelp. And there's a Kurdabe. Wow, lots of firepower. And now, of course, the danger is, what if Fulco has a balance? That would be devastating. But if he doesn't have a balance, the next turn could be very painful for Fulco. I mean, he's staring down at 6 damage without even pumping the Whelps. So that could easily go up to 10 damage. And then he would drop to 6. But it's a pretty big if. Are we going to see a balance? No! Oh, there's the balance! Oh! You know, I kind of had that feeling. And it's one of the reasons why I thought when I saw Koen doing that, I'm like, okay, maybe you should just hit him for 5. Just hit him for 5. Play up the Kurdabe. Keep a Whelp in hand. But again, it's easy for me to say from this commentary position. And again, balance, of course, is a one-off in a deck. But still, this is so devastating for Koen. There we see an Underground Sea. Probably going to see an attack for 2 here as well. Insult after injury. I think that's the saying. Yeah, going to animate it, I believe. Or not. Does he want to do something else? Yeah, swinging for 2 makes perfect sense. Koen dropping to 9 with that Underworld Dream still on the table. Oh, and there's going to be even more pain. There's an Hypnotic Spectre. Passing the turn back here to Koen. Gotta take a damage here from the Dreams. Should go to 8. Exactly. And yeah, this is pretty problematic. Can Koen get back from this? That's the question. Gonna tap 2. There's a Sylvan. Yeah, and Sylvan with Underworld Dreams is not great. It's not making you very happy. There's the pass. The Hypnotic is staying on the board for now, at least. Maybe there's a bolt in hand for Koen. Could play that at instant speed, of course. We'll see that in the combat phase. First in Max Jet being played out by Fulco. I mean, Koen on 8 here. And if he doesn't have an answer, he's going to drop to 4 pretty soon. There we see a basic swamp. Gonna tap the swamp here for a black to animate the factory, swing in for 4. There's the bolt on the hippie. Okay, at least that's something. He is gonna take 2, gonna drop to 6. Tapping 6 mana. What are we gonna see for 6? What are we gonna see for 6 mana here? Maybe he redrew the Brain Geyser. Gonna tap the city as well. Yep, redrew the Brain Geyser. Gonna Geyser for 5. Oh, and that's it. Koen saying, you know what? You got this. Picking up the cards. Now both these players are going to dive into their sideboards, and we will catch back up with them in game number 2. Game number 2. Here we go. So 1 game up for Fulco, meaning Koen is on the play. Let's see what he can do in turn 1. There is a mountain. Tapping the mountain, and hey, there's a Curd Ape. So if he can get a forest next turn, the ape is going to get +1/+2, and he's got a 2/3. That would be sweet. We see a swamp here for Fulco. Tapping the swamp. Are we going to see Ritual Hippie? Ritual Hippie, traditional opener from both of these players. It's like we're back in the 90s. Curd Ape turn 1, Hippie turn 1. Then the question for Koen, of course, is does he have a bolt? Does have a bolt here. And then the monkey is now a 2/3 because of that forest. So this is a really good start for Koen. Gonna tap a green as well. There's a Soul Ring. Passing the turn. So wow, what a strong opener by Koen. What can Fulco now do in his second turn? Gonna go for a Mishra's Factory. Now remember, the factory still has summoning sickness, so cannot pump itself yet. Which is good news for Koen. He at least has 1 more attack. Gonna first swing in, of course, so 2 more damage. Fulco dropping to 16. And there's a Llanowar Elves. No mana, though. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. You really want now to see, for example, Mountain into a Whelp, you know, pass turn, put the pressure, or keep the pressure on Fulco. But it's not there. And now we can see what Fulco can do in his third turn. A little bit in the tank here, turn number 3. Does have a card in mind, it seems. What could it be? There is. Yep, Underground Sea. That makes sense. You want to try to play a land every single turn. Does he have another hippie, perhaps? And if so, does he want to play it out? Because then you tap out, of course, and that means at least another 3 damage. Then again, you're on 16. So look at that, just passing the turn, though. That ape should be untapped as well, exactly. There is another green, another forest. There's the 2/3 attack and the 1/1 attack. So really signaling to Fulco that he's got a bolt or maybe a crumble to deal with that factory on the side of Fulco. And for Fulcus, do you want to animate with the really high risk that your factory is going to be destroyed? Or are you just going to take the 3 damage and drop to 13? It looks like he's just going to take the damage. Going to go to 13. Understandable move. And there is a channel. Are we going to see Channel Fireball? Channel Fireball! I think he wins it here. Game number 2 with Channel Fireball. Or, yeah, winning it here. Fist bump from Fulco. Really nice to see. And I'm saying winning it. No, he's winning game number 2. It's just 1-1. And now both players are going to shuffle up again. And we will catch back up with them in the all-decisive game number 3. Game number 3, here we go. So Fulco on the play after losing to that Channel Fireball. It looks like Koen has taken a mulligan here. Look at this. Fulco also took a mulligan. It seems both players starting with 6 in hand then. So that's fair, I guess. We want fair magic here in the third game. Well, fair. Old school is usually not fair. But anyway, Underground Sea, Max Jet, Dark Ritual. Look at this. Turn 1 Underworld Dreams. And I personally think a turn 1 Underworld Dreams is in a lot of cases better than a turn 1 Hypnotic Spectre. And especially in this matchup, I'm not sure if Koen plays with Tranquilities from the sideboard. probably is playing with them, or at least I hope so for him. And he's just starting off with the mountain. There we see... Ooh, look at this! Countering away the Chaos Orb. Oh no! Blue Elemental Blast! Oh! Oh, that was such a cool play from Koen, but it wasn't meant to be. Oh, that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I loved seeing that card. But hey, it is what it is. There's a Curd Ape though, but no green yet, so it's just a 1-1. And there's a pass. And I mean, the thing is here, Fulco also has that strip mine, so even if he finds a forest, there we see Hypnotic Spectre. Yeah, it's not looking great for Koen. It's going to take another damage. Should go to 17 here, actually, I think. Exactly. Go to 17. There we see a Soul Ring. Gonna tap 4. Are we gonna see a Dragon Whelp? Okay, at least that's a really good blocker for the Hippie. I think if I'm Fulco, I think I would flip here on the Hippie, right? On the Dragon Whelp, of course, so that the Hippie can deal damage. I'm gonna tap the factory. Exactly, that's what he's gonna do. Gonna use his own card to resemble the Dragon Whelp. And the Dragon Whelp is a goner here. And that means he can now attack with the 2-2, take a card away from Koen. That is the problem. And look at that, it's a Red Elemental Blast. The thing is with Red Elemental Blast, in these matchups, they're not that useful. Because yes, Fulco has very powerful blue cards, but only a few of them. Of course, they do help in countering against the Blue Elemental Blast, but unfortunately that didn't work out for Koen there. In that earlier turn that we saw. Anyway, he's going to drop to 14, attack with the 1-1. Going to put Fulco on 18, but it's really looking bad here for Koen. He's now going to take 4 damage, probably. And I mean, that would put him on 10. Then he takes an extra damage from the Dreams. He would go down to 9, you know. So that's 5 damage in total. That adds up pretty quickly. Looks like Fulco is really in the tank here with that 1 card. But he is going to animate here, swinging for 4. There we do see a Bolt. Okay, that's good news. That saves him 2 points of damage. Gets rid of a huge problem. So he's going to drop to 12. Untap, upkeep, draw, go to 11. Finding a forest. So at least it's now a 2-3. Attacking. Are we going to see the strip? No, we're not going to see the strip. And there's the pass. And I think Koen was also expecting a strip. Gonna animate with the 2-2. Gonna put him on 9. Gonna drop to 8 then afterwards because of the Underworld Dreams. Well, I'm saying afterwards, but with that I mean when it's his turn. Look at that. It's taking his turn immediately. Fulco not doing much else. So at least that's a silver lining for Koen, that Fulco's unable to put extra pressure on his life total. So if you could just find, for example, a Dragon Whelp, that would be a great blocker for the factory. And now, by the way, Koen can keep his Curd Ape on blocking duty, which is probably a wise thing to do considering he's on 8 and Fulco's still on 16. Yep, looks like he's just passing the turn and step here. We see a Psionic Blast coming in, well, not from the sideboard actually, he's playing it main. He's playing 1 main. I won't say coming in from the sideboard, but it's not. It's in his main 60, attacking here for 2. Koen dropping to 6. This is so rough. Gonna take a damage, gonna go to 5. Oh, Koen. Can we at least see a Gaia's Leech? We do see a Gaia's Touch, though. The card from the dark. It allows you to play an extra forest every single turn, and you can sack the touch for 2 green. It's pretty cool when you play Enchantress. Look at this, Koen dropping to 3. Uh-oh. So close. Come on, Koen, you can do it. Gonna go to 2. We want to see a Gaia's Leech. Second the Leech. Tapping green, tapping 2. What are we gonna see? Gaia's Leech! Yeah, baby! No! A Terror on the Leech. That is evil, Fulco. That is really evil. Winning it here with that Terror on the Leech. Koen is saying, you know, this is all I got. But Koen, for me, you're the moral winner. I love to see that Gaia's Leech. That was fantastic. And yeah, Fulco, what can I say? Well done. Strong deck. Good job. But like I said, I'm just loving the Leech too much. And I'm just happy at least we get to see Gasleech. I think it's the first time. No, it's actually not the first time we're seeing this card on the channel, because I built a deck around that card as well and played with it. But I think it's the first time we're seeing it in a tournament being played. So really, really cool. Anyway, thank you both, of course, for showing your skills here, Fulco and Koen, here in the second episode of the Hill Giant Cup. And if you're liking this tournament, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, because then you will be notified when I'm putting another Hill Giant video on the channel. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you for supporting the show. Please consider leaving a like, sharing this on your socials, and commenting on this video. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. And talking about moving forward, you can also become a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks for all the information.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober, put him in the longboat until he's sober, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, pull out the plug and wet him all over, pull out the plug and wet him all over, pull out the plug and wet him all over. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Put him in the scout to the host, my son, put him in the scout to the host, my son, put him in the scout to the host, my son. Early in the morning, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises. Early in the morning.
Icketus, ficketus, sumba, kazee.